What happens to your brain 60 seconds before you die? 60 seconds. That's all it takes. And what your brain does in that final minute will completely change the way you think about life, death, and consciousness forever. But here's what nobody tells you: scientists didn't believe it was possible. For decades, they assumed that when the heart stops, the brain just goes dark. Like flipping off a light switch. Silence. Nothing. But then researchers started attaching electrodes to dying brains. And what they recorded made their jaws drop. Because in those last 60 seconds, your brain doesn't go quiet. It explodes. Stay with me, because what happens inside your skull in the final minute of life might be the most astonishing thing your body ever does. And we're going to walk through every single second of it. Before we go any further, if this is the kind of content that makes you lean forward in your seat, hit that subscribe button right now. Because on this channel, we go places most people are too afraid to look. And trust me, you are going to want to see what comes next. So let's set the scene. Imagine the moment the heart stops beating. Maybe it happens suddenly. Maybe it was expected. But the second that pump in your chest goes quiet, a clock starts ticking inside your brain. A 60-second countdown that, until recently, science never fully understood. And here's the question that should already be burning in your mind: if the heart stops, how is the brain doing anything at all? Where is the energy coming from? And more importantly, what exactly is it doing with it? Let's find out. Second by second. The moment the heart stops, your blood pressure collapses instantly. No pump, no pressure. It's like cutting the power line to an entire city. And the first organ to notice? Your brain. Now, here's something most people don't realize: your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your entire body. It makes up only about 2% of your body weight, but it burns 20% of all your energy. Every single day. It is a machine that never stops demanding fuel. So what happens when the fuel line is suddenly cut? You'd expect it to immediately shut down, right? Like a phone that just ran out of battery. But that's not what happens. Not even close. In the first 10 seconds after the heart stops, something bizarre begins. The brain, starved of fresh oxygen-rich blood, starts pulling on its very last emergency reserves. Inside your neurons, the billions of tiny electrical cells that make you you, there are still trace amounts of glucose and oxygen clinging to the walls of your blood vessels. The brain begins burning through them desperately. Like a city on blackout, scrambling to keep the hospitals running on backup generators. Can you picture it? Billions of neurons, each one a tiny electrical wire, starting to flicker. Some go dark first. Others hold on. Your visual cortex, the part of your brain that processes what you see, begins to lose its signal. This is why, in some reported near-death experiences, people describe their vision narrowing into a tunnel. The lights in the outer rooms go off first. The core keeps burning. But here's where it gets strange. Here's where science had to completely rewrite the rulebook. Between 10 and 30 seconds, something that should be impossible starts happening. Instead of going quieter, your brain begins generating massive, synchronized electrical waves. Waves more powerful than anything recorded during normal waking life. More powerful than deep sleep. More powerful than meditation. More powerful, in some measurements, than moments of intense focus or emotion. Let that sink in for a second. Your dying brain, with no oxygen coming in, with blood pressure at zero, is somehow producing the biggest electrical storm of your entire life. Scientists call it a spreading cortical depression wave, but don't let that clinical name fool you. What it actually looks like on a brain scan is nothing short of extraordinary. A slow, rolling wave of intense electrical activity that sweeps across the entire surface of the brain, lighting up every region as it passes. Like a final symphony playing at full volume before the concert hall goes dark. But why? Why would a brain with no fuel suddenly ignite like this? That's the question that keeps neuroscientists up at night. Here's the leading theory, and it's a strange one. When your neurons are deprived of oxygen, they can no longer maintain the delicate chemical balance they need to stay calm and controlled. Normally, there are tiny pumps on the surface of every neuron, constantly working to keep electrically charged particles, like sodium and calcium, on the right side of the cell membrane. These pumps keep your neurons from firing randomly. They keep everything orderly. But those pumps run on energy. And the moment energy disappears, the pumps stop. Imagine millions of tiny dams all collapsing at the exact same moment. Charged particles flood into the neurons from every direction, all at once. And neurons, when flooded, do only one thing: they fire. Uncontrollably. Massively. All at once. That's the storm. That's the surge. Your entire brain, every region, every network, firing simultaneously in one catastrophic, beautiful burst of electricity. And here's the part that might keep you up tonight. Scientists believe that in that moment, every memory, every sensory experience, every emotion your brain has ever cataloged may be activated simultaneously. Think about what that means. Every face you've ever loved. Every moment that mattered. Every sound, every smell, every feeling, all of it, flooding back in a fraction of a second. Could that be what people who survive near-death experiences are describing when they talk about seeing their life flash before their eyes? But we're not done yet. Because what happens in the final 30 seconds is the part that science is only just beginning to understand, and it raises questions that go far beyond biology. As the electrical storm rolls across the brain, something extraordinary happens in a specific region deep inside your skull, the claustrum. This tiny, thin sheet of neurons is believed by some researchers to be one of the key regions involved in conscious awareness. The place where your sense of self, the feeling of being you, might actually live. And in those final seconds, the claustrum lights up like never before. Is the brain, in its final moments, generating one last burst of consciousness? One final, compressed, ultra-real experience of being alive? The honest answer is, we don't fully know. And that mystery is one of the most profound questions in all of science. What we do know is this. A study published by researchers monitoring patients at the moment of death recorded gamma-wave activity, the same brainwaves associated with heightened consciousness and vivid dreaming, surging to extraordinary levels in those final seconds. In dying patients. With no heartbeat. No blood flow. No oxygen. The brain was generating the most conscious-like activity of a person's entire life. Right at the end of it. And then, somewhere around the 60-second mark, the reserves run dry. The backup generators sputter. The last neuron fires its final signal. The storm ends. Not with a whimper, but after a blaze that science is still trying to explain. The body grows still. The electroencephalogram flatlines. And what was once a universe of 100 billion neurons, 100 trillion connections, a lifetime of thoughts and memories and dreams, goes silent. But here's the thought I want to leave you with. In all of recorded science, there is no known process in the universe that creates energy from nothing. And yet, a brain with no fuel, no blood, no oxygen, no glucose, somehow summoned enough energy for one final explosion of electrical activity more powerful than anything it produced in life. So here's the question that science hasn't answered yet, and maybe never will. What exactly is the brain doing in that final minute? Is it shutting down? Or is it doing something else entirely? Because the data doesn't look like a machine powering off. It looks like a machine doing something for the very last time. Something urgent. Something enormous. Something we don't have words for yet. If this video made you think differently about what's happening inside your body right now, right this second, then you are exactly who this channel is built for. Drop in the comments, do you think the brain is just misfiring randomly in those final seconds? Or do you think it's doing something intentional? I read every single comment, and this one is going to start some incredible conversations. If you're new here, welcome to Body Mysteries. This is what we do. We go inside the human body and find the stories that will genuinely change how you see yourself. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because the next video goes somewhere even deeper, and trust me, you are not ready for what your body is hiding from you. See you there.